Of course, Xavier, this is their map pick as we head on to Oregon. Nomad being the first ban, Raven, I'm so stoked. Let's get into this.
Yeah, man, and the Nomad pick, I think, are really good because they're going to want to prevent that flank. Ethan in particular likes to do some late flanks, so yeah. The Glaz ban as well, pretty common. You don't like the Glaz pushing down into laundry and holding that really long angle into the hallway.
Yeah, also getting rid of the echo. So, of course, we've talked before about it. You know, Orglis do struggle with the echo a bit. And they're, in this case, not relying on the enemy team to ban that out, deciding to go for it themselves. So here, you know, typically we'd see a mirror, but a lot of the time we do see mirror kept in. And I think Xavier here, as we've talked about, they're so flexible as a team. They really have the time to think about this, and they're taking all of that. Yeah,
it's really interesting to see them taking all the time because a lot of the time you see pro teams really prepared and they just lock out their bans straight away. So Xavier have really drawn this out and they've really thought about what they're going to ban.
The whole time?
It's a Kaed.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Man, that's okay. That's really. I'm curious about that because, of course, we saw how good like Hollis is on the Kaed on Bank.
Yep.
But then at the same time, you know, I feel like it takes a specific kind of team or a specific kind of strategy that you want to bring the Kaed. And so Xavier, thinking that it's worth banning that, are they doing that off no information, or do they actually know that Orglis like playing Kaed on this map? Because, like I said, we haven't seen Orglis play on this map forever.
That's right. And I wouldn't even be too surprised if Xavier are doing that just to keep Orglis guessing. Orglis probably think they're going to play a lot of Kaed, and they're preparing on how to counter that, and all of a sudden, Xavier just banned it out.
Yeah.
And that's, again, their plans have gone to the wind.
Maybe they just don't like the Wind Bastion operators very much because there's Nomad and Kaed off the board.
That's true.
Like, we've seen them banned a fair amount, but we've also seen some, you know, good use and I think insufficient use out of them. But in fact, it's a Jaeger that will be foregone in this round on the lieu of the 6th pick. Jaeger, whenever I play any match, like whether it's a pickup game or a ranked match or anything, and I see that there's no Jaeger picks, I always switch onto Jaeger because Jaeger is on almost every single bomb site essential, in my opinion, and Xavier are taking a huge gamble right now.
Absolutely, it definitely is a huge gamble. Orglis have a lot of utility that would have been countered by those ADSs. So foregoing that, yeah, really interesting what their game plan is. They've also picked the mirror, which is kind of surprising for this kid's site. Like, normally you'd see that on the laundry for sure, but upstairs it's a 50-50 where the teams really bring it. So it's interesting they're bringing it and how they're going to play with it. I would have expected a more aggressive kind of mirror play, like if they're holding below in kitchen. Often you might see a mirror onto that wall into dining, but it doesn't look like that's what they're doing. So I'm curious how they've got it set up on site.
Yeah, we've seen some hard kitchen holds in the EU Pro League, for example, and like Hollis, man, he's just like P90, okay, he's going to peek this. Ooh. He has a long way to run at the moment. He's just going to hold this angle because he knows that he's not expected to be here. But Emorin finds a good first kill onto Producer Boom, and Operator, the Pulse, you can do so much in that late round. In fact, it's not the Doc who's picked off early, as so often occurs. Yeah,
and that Pulse being picked so early is probably going to put a bit of a dent in what Xavier wanted to do. It looked like they really wanted to play below and be able to deny. I have seen Orglis do quite a lot of planting in like the kids' bedroom, so the Pulse can be really helpful for that.
Yeah, I fully agree. We've seen some good kitchen holds and use of Pulse from, for example, Penta just last week in the EU Pro League. Excellent play to make that happen. But as for Xavier Esports on this defense, it's obviously that's one thing that makes it more difficult. But look, Orglis are doing well so far.
Yeah,
They're
definitely.
2 picks, and I think that it's just that they're very structured at the moment, and Xavier are falling into that plan.
Yeah, and actually, you know what? Xavier might even end up outplaying themselves, just trying to do too much on a bomb site where they should potentially just be chilling out a bit.
But, I mean, knowing Xavier, next round, like we saw the first map, the first round goes to Orglis, and then everything changed for Xavier on the same bomb site with the same operators. They completely changed their play style. Wouldn't be surprised if we see that again, even if this does go Orglis' way.
Yeah, that's very true, and we're going to see the remaining Xavier players playing on site. They're under siege right now, and Healthcare, he does take off Emorin's head. That is the buck down, so not much vertical pressure applied besides the top of the white stairs. Hajime is playing that mirror in kids, and one has already, he hasn't vaulted in the double window, but they're in quite aggressive positions here already, is Orglis, and Joey does take out Healthcare, so now it's a 4v2. The other two stuck on site with a lot of pressure coming at them.
That's a good C4.
Oh, that is a beautiful C4 from Hajime. That is Joey down. That is the Capitao and some utility not used by Joey.
And of course, a lot of bullets in that M249 from Joey as well, so quite a loss from Orglis, but I don't think they're too phased by it as they take down Redson. just Hajime, the last remaining players, as we can see, used his C4 already. He'll have to take a lot of gunfights, and August have some time to play with. But you know, we've seen more surprising things here than a clutch from Hajime, and anything's possible. I
really like that he's playing this really patiently as well. He's not frantic on side. He's just holding a really nice, comfortable angle onto white. And he's just going to try and play off his teammates' intel or sound.
See, that was almost a free pick, but not going to happen. He's puts himself into an exposed position, and there we have it. A good first round from the Aussies.
Yeah, really strong. And we did hear Ethan in the crowd here just shout, "Nice," really loud. So they were really looking for that first round, and they're going to take that momentum into the second, and hopefully they can keep going with it.
I think that they would have had a good chat to Silex, who's, as we can see, standing right behind them just now. Would have had a good chat to him in the break, and I think that really does help out. I mean, the previous map, we saw as soon as they had their tactical timeout to talk to Silex, they had a good round.
Yeah.
And obviously, it slipped away after that, but I do want to just point out how much that I think. I mean, I don't need to convince you that coaches have an impact, do I, Raven?
That's right, man. And if anything, I think it's unfortunate coaches don't get to talk more at LANs. As a player, you can get really focused. It's almost like tunnel vision, you could call it. So just being able to talk to your coach can really pull you back out and get much more perspective on what's happening. The coaches see all the screens, they can really see what's happening. So I'm sure Silex has really regrounded them and got them ready for what could happen on Oregon.
That said, we are on Oregon. I mean, it's the identity of this map has really been hammered into us right by this point. This map is one where, and I think it comes down to the size, a lot of it as well. It's, you know, it's such a small map with a lot of channels and lanes where you can, as an attacking side, you know, cut off. And as a defending side, a lot of it comes down to these unpredictable, you know, what is this slight detail that makes the difference between a round? And I think that just from a, you know, at a basic level, I think Xavier are just in an advantage for that. So even with Augus's lead, I'm worried about, you know, suddenly we'll blink and see Xavier player get a 2K from someone we hadn't expected.
Yeah. It's really interesting too. Xavier, a team we're talking about not having as much structure as traditional, doing things quite untraditional. Their lineup is probably the most traditional lineup you could see for this bomb site. Even the way they've got the mirrors set up, everything is just, I guess, traditional. A lot of people say Oregon is a stale map in terms of strats, so it could just indicate that they haven't really had anything that they feel is innovative or something to play. But or
they could convince you one thing with the operator picks and then do something completely different, as we saw on the previous map. So I wouldn't count them out just yet.
Yeah. We're going to see August really start to surround the building and just drone carefully as they do and try and figure out exactly what this defense is doing. It looks like it is a meeting hold coming out of Xavier. We do see the one playing aggressive near that double door, just on the side, on the garage side. It's Redstone on the mute. He's just going to try and chill out here and hopefully not get spotted too early by the attackers, so he can make a bit of an impact when they try to get those hatches open.
Yeah, we can see that's the priority for Xavier at the moment, as some angles being opened up from the kitchen pantry. No doubt Lycolis will call that out to his teammate, but he's keen to make this peak. Good shot taking down that drone. Extended barrel, all right, I'll take it. Not so bad on the Jaeger, but of course still two players in the meeting hall.
It looked like they're really trying to get Lycolis to take all those drones as well so that Redstone can stay undroned as that mute. So this could work against August if they're actually completely unaware. They are opening that laundry hatch now, which is really good pressure for halfway through the round.
There's a Valkyrie camera as well, just in the lobby, directly on that light that we saw. And as the Thatcher grenade went off, the Valkyrie camera got disabled, which makes a huge amount of noise and light. So it's fairly easy to see it after it's been Thatchered, but still August haven't picked up on that. So that's a huge amount of information that Xavier can gather that August are not denying. And it's such an easy denial of that Valkyrie cam.
Yeah, and I do believe that August potentially do not know this mute's position, because the only way they're holding the rotate through meeting is through that kitchen angle they opened in pantry. Normally, sometimes someone will push up into meeting or even put a drone into meeting, but it's not being held that way. Wow, healthcare takes off the head of Ethan. That was an insane shot from the laundry just behind that mirror. That's going to put a bit of a dent in August's push.
Yeah, and this is the aggressive mirror strategy that we see from Cloud9. You know, putting it on, you know, more typically you'd sit on the opposite wall, but Cloud9 love chucking on this one. You get a little bit less visibility onto the stairs, but it's great for aggressively peeking that hatch. Finally, Red Sun does go down. However, the mute managed to find one pick before it happened. Lycolis again on that flank, and Xavier's doing so much work. Another player as well coming to flank, and Lycolis finds him as well. Lycolis, an absolute madman. How does he make it happen?
He keeps pushing.
Cleans it up.
Wow, man. Lycolis, he just went absolutely ham on the attackers there. The mute did get an impact frag that was refragged by the Buck, but Lycolis, he just kept going. He got a frag and pushed further and further, and he ended up with a 4K, I believe it was, Dev.
Yeah, and I mean, It's like we were saying, right? Xavier can indicate one thing with their operator lineup. They can look like they're going to do something incredibly standard, and then it's the way that they position themselves and the individual plays that they make, such as I think that you can't highlight it enough. The fact that Lycolis was baiting all the drones and that Redson never got droned out, that's such a good point that you keyed into, and that really made a huge difference. It got one opening pick. And then, of course, it was, okay, Redson gets one pick and gets traded, so you think that's not so much of an impact. But then, after killing that player, they think, okay, we've dealt with the flank, and then what happens? Lycolis comes. We even saw if Lycolis had died there, Producer Boom was running to help on the flank as well.
Yep.
It's just, that's team synergy for you.
Absolutely to Lycolis' credit as well. We call him an aggressive player, but once he got droned out and cleared those drones, he didn't go back to site, sure, but he also didn't re-peek anything. He stayed really patient behind the sandbags and let the mute do the first pick like you identified. And yeah, it really allowed him to just get that pick. I think August probably thought he went back to site after they'd taken out the mute.
And it's because, you know, August likely scrim majoritively these, ANZ teams, but also other APAC teams and occasionally teams from further away that play in a certain way, play predictably. We call it a meta because we can understand it. It's something that we recognize. We see these patterns that develop. And when it's even something such as a player behavior of when they rotate, and where they rotate. And if you don't see them peak for a while, like, let me say, you see someone in a room and you cut off that rotation and then you don't see them for ages, maybe you stop cutting off that rotation. There was an opportunity for them to, like, escape and hide somewhere else, go back to site maybe. But it's very uncommon for that player to just be sitting, waiting patiently and not retreating. You can assume, because they haven't peaked, that they're still, like, that they've gone back. But no, the player behavior from Xavier is unpredictable. Yeah,
that's very true. And it's really interesting they've picked out the kitchen dining bomb site for their second bomb site. They did have the kids' bedroom on that first one, which they lost, and they've just decided to forego it and go straight to their third pick.
Yeah, that's a great point. Very uncommon bomb site to be picked as a secondary. Not so keen on the dorms, it seems, after that one loss. It's a Showers hold at the moment.
This indicates that it doesn't look like they actually know where he's rotated to, because Emo's tried to grenade that traditional laundry basket.
Lycola's taken out nice and early, though, and a fragment only does a little bit of damage onto the bandit.
Yeah, looks like they're aware now.
Yeah, I think that he's been droned out, and look, now some of the Ethan's utility with the lifeline concussions also will be delivered that direction, but someone really needs to make this, someone needs to make the damage here, and there's a good angle being held there by Healthcare, but Emo in, I think, a well-timed peek, baiting Ethan essentially in a positive way that took out that player.
Yeah, that was really well executed there from August to get that out. They were wasting a lot of time trying to get him out, and they had to do something, and they really pulled it off together really well.
We have two players as well poised to potentially run out from the lobby or that master bedroom balcony, which leaves only Hajime on site. And as long as his teammates are using those Evil Eyes for information, hopefully Xavier will be able to rotate in time. But if August take advantage of this opportunity, they have the numbers to just blitz into the bomb site.
Yep, absolutely. And they're starting to have it really surrounded now, and they're starting to be prepared more for an execute. We're just going to see them really just try and drone out, get all the intel, and just be aware of the positions that Xavier are trying to play so they can prepare for this execute and not be surprised by Xavier as they have been, especially on bank.
Near the comms from Xavier, only 3 of them left, but of course the other 2 will likely be on those Maestro cameras and the Valkyrie cameras as well. Producer wants to go for this run out. It's risky to go for the full vault, but in fact he does it. He lands just enough shots to finish off Dirtbay and somehow survives any attempted refrag from August. That's putting the pressure up onto the Australians, who are really, they need to get further in. They have not cut off all of the rotations, and they haven't made enough progress on the bomb site, but the utility starts to be delivered. That's a good fireball onto Hajime.
Yeah, really good. That's a really strong position they need to take out. Now they can push in for this plant. It's just Redson trying to deny this plant because Producer Boom is on another run out. He gets the frag, but Producer Boom is all by himself now. Redson was fragged out. The plant has gone down, so it's Producer Boom all by himself.
No way.
Another run out, and he is fragged out by Joey. A really good execute from August.
Yeah, and as you said, foregoing that dorms, but heading on to kitchen instead. In this case, it didn't work out, and I'm wondering, was it the right choice for Xavier, or is it just the fact that they only are really comfortable defending that downstairs?
Yeah, that's a good point, and I guess classic Xavier, they're trying to keep their opponents guessing, so they've just gone for this third bomb site, just to throw caution to the wind, just try to get them off guard again.
Yeah, and I think that it's a bit of a difficult line to walk, because the thing that is working for Xavier is the unpredictable plays, those runouts. We saw Producer Boom get 2 of them in fairly unconventional positions, but we also saw on the flip side of that, the plant denial just wasn't present enough. And as soon as August had countered that one player on side with the firebolt, that was the end of the story, and the plant was for free.
Yeah, and that's very much how the kitchen dining bomb site often plays out. Often people will take that small tower, open the wall, and then it's really just 1 or 2 positions you need to have clear before you can go for that execute. And because Producer Boom was off-site doing those runouts, it was all up to that Maestro, and that was it.
It's difficult to be critical of the Legion, though, because what could he have done to prevent that plant? He didn't have plant denial himself.
That's true. He could have put a bit more pressure on them down the hallway, potentially, just to make them feel a little uneasy in the tower, covering that plant, which might have opened up somebody else to reposition and get that frag that they needed. But hard to say in hindsight. At the end of the day, he did get a frag on that run out.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, difficult to only credit counting frags, as you're pointing out, but
Sure.
like, yeah, it's something very peculiar about the way that Xavier Esports play. And at the moment, August, you know, as we said, Oregon is a map where the devil is in the details, and August have made some of these details work out. They bring a lot of utility, as you can see from their lineup, and they execute well with it.
Yeah, and Xavier have gone back upstairs here, and they've picked the same lineup they had last time. They're going to set it up pretty similarly by the looks like, and Redson also going to play that tall tower position, which he was doing last round.
It's just funny every time you see Valkyrie with a deployable shield, isn't it? You know, you expect, you know, Valkyrie pairing so well with that C4. But no, occasionally, you know, the team calls for something. And people who have the, you know, maturity to sacrifice something that seems like a good idea for something that could be an even better idea, it's, you know, I respect that.
And there is some presence downstairs here from Xavier again in that hallway and kitchen. Not as aggressive in the dining or showers as they were last round, which did cost them 2 early picks. August have taken some early advantage, and Ethan will take Lycolis out of this round. That is the Jaeger down. His ADS is potentially on site, but we saw in Banky had them all in his pocket at one stage mid-round, so hopefully he put them down.
I hope so, but look, 1 pick within the first 60 is really, really good, and Producer Boom now completely trapped here inside of the pantry itself. Imarin also has grenades, and look, even if this doesn't land too close, it's close enough, I think. Producer Boom can't escape that one. He's taken down. August, the way that they're using this utility, the way that they're playing, you know, this structured game, it works so well. Yeah,
it's actually really doing work against Xavier right now. Xavier just getting themselves trapped in positions, and August just choking them, so to speak, pushing them back until they can't go back further and finishing it off.
And we were saying that, you know, on Oregon, it can... The rounds can go more to a, you know, a team that's playing with a puggier play style, but here perhaps it's that, you know, Xavier are actually maybe going for these unexpected plays a bit too early. They have to start with just the simple, the basics, and then use that to work off their unexpected plays, and they're just not getting the basics right.
No, and August are really starting to surround the bomb site here and get ready for an execute. It might be the double window. Red Sun has dropped below. He's flanking the white stairs. He does frag out Derpe. Emo trades straight back, so it's a 4v2, 50 seconds to go. Red Sun has gone back to site, so they have their 2 remaining defenders on site ready for this execute.
Healthcare just waiting patiently, of course. That's a huge amount of the floor torn up from below, which means if the defenders do have access to below, they can do some serious work, but they're going to have to contend with these players who are, in fact, using those angles for themselves on the attacking side. Just 30 seconds left, and August trying to flush out these final positions. They're surely aware of Red Sun's position, who just needs to hold steady with his aim.
See those Capital firebolts coming out to try and deny positions. Joey pushes in and trades healthcare. Red Sun is fragged out in the end, and August another strong round.
A good job from August, as you said. Systematic from the first step until the last. 2 early picks, and then they had plenty of time, and you know, yes, you see a lot of that time being spent calculating where to use this utility or droning out areas, gaining information and putting on pressure gradually. It's, you know, a Viper slowly closing in on their enemy, and it's working well on this map in particular.
Yeah, and actually one thing that you can notice that's probably hindering Xavier a bit is they do like to play that pretty free kind of style of play. And the way August are attacking, it's really preventing them from being able to do that. They're trying to move around, but August is starting to read where they're trying to move into. They're cutting it off, they're getting those frags early, and it means that Xavier just kind of constrained and they can't really play how they want to play. So it's finally being played on August's terms, which is, I think, why they're getting such strong attack rounds in.
And finally we can see Xavier go back downstairs, which to me is the easiest bomb site to just lay down a simple strategy and then play off of that with these unexpected plays. And I think that's what Xavier, you know, did so well in the previous round and likely will do again. We see the same lineup in terms of operators. I don't know. It's difficult to say for Auglis, now that they've had a couple of rounds to build up that momentum. Going into this round that they previously lost, and it was just a couple of strong plays from Xavier that lost it for them. Will this be, Auglis making some adaptations necessary so that they can counter?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to think about what to do with this meeting. I think that's the biggest thing they're going to have to adapt to counter what Xavier are trying to do. It looks like Xavier are going to play out of that meeting again, and the way they played it last time was absolutely key to them winning this round. So I think if Auglis can figure out how to deal with that, it probably will go in Augus's favor, but Xavier love to surprise us. It looks like they're not playing it particularly different to last time, and Auglis also look like they're taking it pretty similarly. They want to take from the west just to get that solid foothold on the map, have a lot of map control. Again, it'll reduce how freely Xavier can play around the map and cause issues with Auglis.
I think a large part of Xavier playing freely and causing issues is due to the fact that they always have information. The mirror window can tell you how many players are above the hatch, and the Valkyrie camera that we saw not being taken out in lobby previously, again, I'm going to highlight that. That's a big no-no for me. We have to see Auglis be a little bit more thorough.
Yeah, and they are attacking it pretty similarly. They're opening this line of sight again into meeting. Lacola's playing a similar position behind the sandbags and meeting. And again, he played this really patient last time. Redson over there again near the double on the garage side, just trying to relax and take all the drones. There is a drone that spotted out Lacola's that he did not see in the meeting. He's just going to, again, stay patient behind these sandbags and just pick his moment to push. Same with Redson. So it depends what August are going to do here. They could be caught off again.
Surely they'll play more thoroughly. And in fact, it's Lacola's landing a few bullets. You can see how cautious Auglis are, and they check up for that camera. I believe they've dealt with it this time around. So Xavier with a little bit less information will be less likely to make some of these plays. But oh, okay, there you go. There's one player down on the ground. Red Sun likely finished off within a few moments. There you have it.
Yeah, Lacola's attempted the refrag there, the pre-fire, but he didn't pick up on that. So that is one loss out of the meeting, and now it's really precarious for Lacola's to play here by himself. He's going to have to put up with a lot of drones. They're going to be fully aware he's in there, so they're going to have to deal with it. And he has actually decided to drop back to site. That's a minute to go, a 4v5. August, they're going to have to start preparing for an execute. And we see the stun grenades coming out just to clear those ADSs so that they know they're ready for the execute when they are. And they're on the stairs now, so they're definitely getting close to it.
Really great position for Auglis now. Decent amount of time left, and I think that they're very wary to all of the plays that Xavier previously managed to make work, such as these peeks up from the hatch from Healthcare. A grenade sailing downstairs. I don't think it does enough damage, however, and Healthcare knows he has to make a big play, playing very aggressively. His first gas canister does give him some coverage, but the third one is the problem, and we still have Producer Boom behind the mirror window with a C4.
Yeah, I think Healthcare was trying to smoke himself off to play aggressive, and here he goes. He pushes through.
Way.
He takes down the Buck. He takes down the diffuser. That's 12 seconds to go. 3v3, another one to Healthcare. Oh my lord, he's just opened up the round. A 2v3 with 6 seconds to go. The diffuser isn't in the hands. Joey does take one down. His teammate is down, and wow, Xavier, that is really well played to just push that back in their favor. Healthcare with the ballsy plays on the smoke. Almost Pengu-esque pushing up those laundry stairs.
I mean, that was a 4K.
That is unreal.
It was a 3K with the shotgun, and then finished off one with the SMG-11 and Injure as well. But I could just see that happening with, we'll get the instant replay on that because that was incredible. And the thing that really struck me is we saw that, as I said, the Valkyrie was behind that mirror window, had that C4 in which she could use to deny that plant, but they didn't have the information on where the plant was, and it's unlikely you'll probably deny all of the possible plant spots with the one C4. So I could see he was planning to go for that C4, and then Healthcare clearly said, no, wait, I'm essentially dead right now. I need to just go and get as much information as I can by peeking out, deal some damage as I can, and well, he certainly made good on that.
Yeah, he definitely dealt some damage. Dev, he definitely did. So that's another round going to Xavier. We see a 3-2, and after all these strong attacks that Auglis have had, if Xavier managed to pull out and secure this round win, that's a 3-3 for the first half, and I think Auglis would be a bit disappointed with that. They've played the attacks really well. All credit to them. They have played them really well, but Xavier have managed to pull 2 rounds, and if they do get this third, then yeah, I'd be really disappointed if I were Auglis. I
do think we're going to end this half 4-2 for Auglis, though. Xavier really haven't given us much to look at in terms of these bomb sites that aren't the basement. The basement, they look so confident, but they really seem to be lacking something on these top floor bomb sites, on that kitchen that they tried as well. And I don't know, what could that be?
I think they really need to change the way they're playing the roam downstairs, because what is happening is they're just getting cut off, they're getting trapped, which is really well read by August, and they're not doing anything to really do anything back. August are just getting their positions and holding it and getting the picks, and Xavier are having no impact with that roam. So I think they need to change their principle with the roam, change the way they're playing it, slow down August a bit more. I say that, and I think I can see somebody in an aggressive position and dining there all by himself. I think that is producer boom.
Yeah, he's just waiting to not be droned, but you know, there's a problem with that plan if you do get droned.
I think he's just trying to take out some drones and potentially pull back, but yeah, I think the key with this is really this roam. So if August can counter this roam early, I think they can definitely secure this round. But again, if Xavier get the good read on August and get a couple of picks themselves, definitely could come back in favor of Xavier.
Honestly, I think that Xavier is read as an aggressive team now. And what we need to see... Oh, okay, nice. So cutting off that rotation, sacrificing his ability to rotate into tower, but look, might be worth it. But as I was saying, so Xavier have realized that, you know, they have been read as an aggressive team. And I think what we need to see from Xavier now is no peeking, no aggression for another minute. And that's when we need to see them have equal numbers to the enemy, retaking areas on the roam and going for that late round vertical roam.
Yeah, and that's pretty much exactly what they did with that laundry hole in that last round. They really timed that aggression from healthcare, for example. Even though they were picked off early, that timed aggression from him worked in their favor. And yeah, I agree, that's what they need to do here. And they've rotated back to side. I saw Producer Boom in the small dorms pulsing out. The Valkyrie did rotate back through attic and safely reinforced that off. So yeah, they look like they're reading into August, and they've finally figured out what's going to be strong for them to try and get this round.
It's a good read from Xavier as well, as August are consistently taking this downstairs area and then using grenades and the lifeline and that skeleton key to open up this floor and flush out the default positions. But it's somewhat red, and Lycolis finds the first kill. Not sure exactly where that was. I think that may well have been a run out from Garage, but that's some unwise aggression from Healthcare, who's taken down by Joey.
Yeah, Dope also takes out Lycolis, so now it's a 4v3 with less than a minute to go. We're going to have to start to see August making that progress onto site to get the execute. Xavier do have all their players on site, so they are ready for what is coming at them. Hajime is still aware of someone who potentially playing below. One pushing white stairs, he's almost up there, and Redstone's ready for that. He's got that angle. Oh, this is an epic stare down.
Yeah, this is a good position for Redstone, actually. That mirror open means that he can have more of an impact onto white stairs, and that information can be used both ways rather than just in the one direction. But Emorin makes a great peek, lands a couple of shots into him, but he gets that headshot. There's 2 players left for Xavier in the final round of the half now, and Diesel wants to force this diffuser down. There's no C4 remaining, but I believe the plant's actually going down elsewhere.
Yeah, they're not really sure at all where it's coming down. Hajime does peek, he thought it was there.
It's on the other side!
Joey takes the Hajime, and now Producer Boom pushing up by himself from white stairs.
We saw that rotation just running outside, the silhouettes of the August players moving their way around to the other side of the map, and it was a great read from August to make a diversion on that main double window and sneak Diesel around to get a sneaky plant off on the other side.
Yeah,
excellent read.
That was a really great read, a really great round from August there. They saw where the pressure was going to be held from Xavier, and yeah, they implemented some really nice tricks to get that plant down. In fact, I dare say that was my favorite round for August in terms of how they played it out. It was really, really smart, and it secured them the 4-2 advantage from that first half.
You know, we were talking to Jordan on the desk, and we were really feeling like this is going to be Xavier. Is this what I was saying before? I was saying, look, there are 2 things that are going to happen here. Either one, we've got Xavier who, you know, love Oregon, and August who have never played Oregon, so Xavier are going to be comfortable and August won't, and we'll see a pub stomp as well, because, of course, August... Oregon is the map where good teams go to die. So, you know, we have August can fall because Xavier plays unexpectedly. Or we can have the case that August has done their research and they've calculated the bans, and they wanted to ban what they did up first, which was Clubhouse, and they decided, all right, we're just going to ban Clubhouse, which means we expect that they will pick Oregon. And they practice the crap out of Oregon, and that's why we're seeing them with a lead.
Yeah, you definitely could be right. It could be a psychological read into the vetoes, and if so, yeah, this definitely would indicate why August are performing so well. Not that they necessarily couldn't perform well on Oregon otherwise. They're definitely like a strong team, and they've got good synergy. Yeah, we did think it would favor Xavier, that pug-style play, but so far, really, really well played from August. We're going to see them take the top floor as well for their first bomb site. Feeling confident on that. Zope with a nice evil eye there in attic. Yeah. It's going to look into the kids' windows.
So I was going to say this is it's going to come down to the defenses of how much have August specifically done for this map, and that setup that we saw, not just the, as you said, the Maestro Evil Eye from Attic can peer through that Attic window onto B windows, but I believe the lines of sight that they opened into Master Bedroom means that it can also peek there. So August have a really nice setup.
Yeah, and that indicates to something you were saying before. Maybe August read this right from the beginning, that this would be a map they've played and that they've put together some pretty good strats for it.
A mirror window, as you mentioned, not always useful on this site, but I think they're leveraging the Maestro. Yeah,
it looks like they are leveraging the Maestro quite a lot for that intel, but they also have the Pulse and the Valkyrie. The Pulse probably going to play below. It is Ethan. He does like to be that fluid player, late roaming or early poking at the attack, so not too surprised that Ethan's on that role. Diesel with those Valkyrie cams as well. One outside that has not been spotted at all by Xavier. They do have the IQ, but potentially IQ hasn't scanned that area. They've missed that, and that's pretty critical. Yeah, and they've also obviously reduced the radius or the amount area that you can scan things from with the IQ scanner. It used to be much longer, and now it means that you really do have to move around a lot more, so it does take a little bit longer to scan for those things, but yeah, not working out so far for Xavier. I'm not sure where their push is, in fact. Yeah, it's a very unstructured push coming out of them. They are a little bit separated. Redstone almost takes out Joey there. Joey lucky to get away with that with his life. He's gone back into kids. He's lit up again. He's on very low health now. Derpe does kill Redstone, though. That is the Kappa Tower down. That's a lot of utility they could use for their execute they can no longer use. So it's a 5v4 advantage to August with almost a minute to go.
Yeah, a lot of strange control, and look, this pressure, there's a Maestro just above, but that's a great play from Hajime, clearing out Derpe, an ACOG and a good player, and the ability to use those Maestros completely eliminated as Xavier start their execute.
Yeah, and like Hollis, is he trying to rotate through that? I'm not sure. I'm not sure he knows what he's doing. It looks like they're going to try and do the kids, or the small kids, push, but August have a lot of different angles and a lot of utility looking at that. And Ethan as well here, completely aware. Joey does take out a Xavier player, so now it's a 4v2 with less than 40 seconds to go for this execute. Like Hollis is just trying to get some peaks, trying to get a pick just to get it a bit close with the man advantage. Hajime making his way back, so they're by no means ready for this execute.
Yeah, they're looking for this entry frag. Just 20 seconds to go, and downstairs, Diesel's doing some more work. August are so very comfortable on this defense, and like August may well catch him off guard, but he stares the wrong way. You may as well have seen him, but Diesel, the newest player on the roster, is doing a good job.
Yeah, another strong read there from August, the way they played that out. Their strat was really good, and they ended up having those players below to cut those rotates. Xavier took a lot of time trying to take that tower, solo at that, and they didn't really get much foothold on the site. And I think time management was a really critical issue for Xavier there. And at the end of the day, not only was their time management a bit poor, but August got those early picks. So it meant that when they were finally kind of at site, if they were even there, to be honest, they weren't able to do too much.
Things seem to be flipped on their head at the moment. We saw a very dominant Xavier game on Bank, and now here we are on Oregon, and it's not just the attack that August are comfortable on. It's actually Xavier now who've decided to take their tactical timeout. So I could say it's not quite at the you know, at match point yet, but it's getting pretty close there, and I think that it's wise to take it, you know, not on the match point itself.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's good that they've taken it now. They don't want to leave it that late, so they've got this long run of rounds ahead of them, and that they're worried about that. They can just take their breath, get some motivational words from their coach, and just some perspective on what's happening. And it might be able to help them bring this back. It's only 3 rounds, so it's not so bad on the attack. But again, they've got a lot ahead of them now. They've really started to dig a bit of a hole. And they're going to have to figure out how August is starting to counter them because, yeah, they need to readapt and they need to start getting these rounds off August.
We're going to head straight back in. Oh, producer beam on the blitz.
Here we go.
Is it locked in?
He definitely should, because it's laundry and blitz can be really strong on this bomb side, especially if they're going to do an aggressive push. So, yeah. This feels like a good pick already.
I'm keen for this. And look, we were watching a video the other day. It was actually one of Pojo Man's videos where they had a bit of a montage of Dark Zero, the North American team's blitz. Mint is insane.
Yeah, he's a monster.
Yeah. And so there is so much you can do with that operator. And on this site in particular, it can be so much fun to play if you do it well. And it's so much not fun to play against.
Very true. And there's 2 really strong ways you can play it. You can push down the laundry stairs and really hassle while your teammates are trying to get a plant. Or what Mint did in that video that you discussed is he just dropped that hallway hatch that we see Derpe right there. and just pushed straight onto that B site, and I think he got a 3 or 4K out of it. And it's so hard to play against when you're in such close quarters. You can't get as many crossfires as you would like to be able to take out that blitz. So August are going to have to be really careful if that blitz makes a penetrative move, how they can counter that.
I think the big thing for August here will be control of meeting hall, and it's the same thing that we saw when Xavier were defending this. That meeting hall has made such an impact on this round. The teams aren't forfeiting it, they're holding onto it as long as they can, and well, that's what I expect to see from August in this round due to the fact that they opened some of the hatches, but you know, it's anyone's game, and we do have 2 ACOGs on the board. I'll expect to see Ethan roaming, and here you go. There's reinforcements in the pantry. I expect to see August holding on as long as they can to that meeting room.
Absolutely, and the blitz essentially face-checking most of that part of the site. They potentially had a drone just cutting off, knowing that there wasn't anybody over that side. We do see Xavier look like to be favouring that laundry push. There is no one actually on the north side of the map from what I can tell. Producer Boom just hanging out on that dining. He's potentially worried about a late flank, or not too sure what he's thinking here. He might be going to rotate to the tower and pushing the back. Hajime has found his way to the tower. So they're a bit split up here. We've got 3 on the south side pushing that laundry and 2 on the north.
And also, controlling tower is a good way to put some pressure onto meeting hall as well. If you want to push from multiple angles, and in fact the blitz could do some work there, even if it's just for information gathering. Speaking of information, that's some denied now with that Valkyrie cam eliminated. Hajime aware of these positions inside of the meeting room, and well, Red Sun looking to peek from the other side as well. So I do like this from Xavier, but we'll come down to some of these angles and some of these gunfights. And I know Ethan, you certainly can't count him out.
Yeah, and that was a bit of a bully move, you could say, out of Xavier. They really started to surround the roamers and just they really aggressively pushed it. It made August just decide to maintain the equal man advantage and just drop back to site. So they had that control now, and they can really start to formulate an attack, and that blitz can decide where is exactly going to push.
I'm a little bit surprised that August decided to completely default. I would have thought that at least Ethan would have contested a little bit longer, but we'll see whether it was a wise choice. So they have 5 men on the bomb side. They can completely, you know, hold down and refrag as much as possible, but no mirror window will make it much more difficult.
Yeah, and it's worth noting, I don't think Xavier have the bomb actually over on the laundry side.
Is this a bait? They're trying to waste...
Yeah, they're baiting out a lot of the utility here.
But there's good information from August.
Okay, Lecolis is now actually going to go for the plant. The plant is going down. Dirtbait does throw the C4.
Oh,
he doesn't deny, but he does with the shots. Hajime trading straight back to 4v4, 30 seconds to go. Hajime with another one, 3v4. Diesel, and oh, here's the producer boom push with the blitz. Oh, Diesel, what a flick. Healthcare is there for the refrag, but he doesn't get it. Diesel again, it's a 2v1. Red Sun all by himself. Diffuser is down. He's going to have to really play this patient if he's going to have a chance to deny the... Oh! A nice shot on Derpe, 1v1. Diesel with low health, Red Sun with 100 HP. They must have intel onto this bomb.
No utility to speak of for Red Sun, nothing left. Diesel must have an absolute heart of steel right now to continue this defuse. Renton drop, no, Red Sun, he goes for it, he clutches the round in a 1 versus 2.
Wow, that was really well played by Xavier, and that blitz did have a bit of an impact. It really gave August not much of a chance to re-deny that plant once he'd actually dropped. So the blitz working out really well, and just strong frags from Xavier just to get themselves in that position.
The thing that was really interesting to me is just the way that, as you highlighted, Xavier were putting all this utility down, just telegraphing, we are going to plant, but they weren't going to plant. They didn't have the bomb over there yet. And look, it was a nice idea. I don't think it had an impact positively for them because they just used all their utility, and August were just sitting there saying, no, they're not planting yet. You don't have to use your C4 yet. But hey, it was a nice idea. I think that if there's anything that or Xavier really need to do to make an improvement on that one, it'd be counter some of that utility.
Yeah, they did bait out, I think, at least 2 smokes, and the C4 did miss its mark from Derpe, but he did deny with the bullets. But I think it did favour them with that plant, because at the end of the day, it meant that August had to try and make a move instead of the safe denial. And because they had that blitz at the time that August needed to make that move, they couldn't really get anywhere.
Wow, look at that. Just looking at the scoreboard, Joey's on 10. He's, I would say, next to Diesel, the most supportive player on the team. You know, those two really are very supportive players.
Yeah.
And we've seen them both do a lot of good work.
It's really good to see that, actually, because often a lot of people say August relies on Ethan or Emo to frag out, but I think what they've now managed to secure for themselves is strong support players to back that up. So it's no longer just reliant on those key fraggers. It's more team play, which is really nice, and I guess that's how you get consistent results. You have to have all players be able to perform, and it seems like quite a frag disparity there between the two teams. Xavier quite even with their frags, but also in terms of the amount of frags, much different.
Yeah. Yeah, and well, there are a couple of rounds below as well. Ethan is playing an aggressive operator. You know, the Vigil, his job is to, you know, take gunfights and evade players, and he's the one who's at the moment on the bottom of the scoreboard for Auglis. So perhaps this is his opportunity to shine, or is it more the case that he's just not feeling it right now? Producer, all right.
Just testing.
Just testing.
Yeah, with your point on Ethan, I think potentially it's kind of his role. Sometimes you can make a real impact with those kinds of players, and sometimes you don't, and that's just how it is. So I think it's important to, as a player in that regard, not to read too much into the scoreboard, just have faith in yourself and not second guess yourself. It's
a great attitude. You'd make a really good coach.
Thank you.
For those of you who don't know, Raven does in fact coach Pro League Team Oddity. Just putting that out there. That's the joke.
It is a good pick from Ethan here too on the Vigil in the meeting. It's going to mean that Xavier have to more thoroughly think about how to deal with this. The drones aren't going to essentially see him, and even if it's far away, and they might not see that little Vigil border that you see on your screen right now, they won't actually see him. So it's a good play from Ethan. Imarin's there to back him up, and it's really slowed down Xavier. We're almost half the round in, and not much progress made. No HP taken off either team.
Yeah, it's a similar hold that both teams were doing, but the way that the room was structured is very different, and that ends up biting all this in the bud, because opening up those lines of sight was a nice idea, but Ethan just didn't have the information required to make that work.
Wow.
And Diesel's off the board now. That's so much utility and that fragging capability gone. This is complete contrast to the previous round. Auglis defaulted with all of their players remaining, and that's just not the case. But Blitz is ramping up the heat, walking into the bomb site. He's taken down for a second time, but there's a flurry of frags for Xavier. They're doing so much work, just Derp remaining.
Yeah, like Hollis with the plant going down. Derp on such low HP as well. There's not too much he's going to be able to do with this situation. The plant is going to go down. 2 of Xavier on 100 HP. Derp, he's going to try and push in for this frag. He's just trying to get a peek. Oh, the aggressive vault into the hallway just misses out Derp. Oh, he doesn't see him prone. Like Hollis finishes it off, and another really strong attack from Xavier. Some excellent T-play coming out. When the Blitz and the Capital team pushed that tower, the Blitz didn't even push aggressively. He just got that intel for his teammate, and then the teammate came around to get the frag.
We're looking at 2 teams who are both really struggling on their attacks when it comes to trying to, defenses, when it comes to just trying to get more than one bomb site. We've seen Auglis managed pretty confidently to defend the dorms, but that's all really. And then on the Xavier side, they were really comfortable going downstairs, but they didn't manage to get upstairs. And look, Auglis, I think really now with their tactical timeout that they're taking just now, it's an opportunity for them to start reassessing some of these defenses, because, well, the thing about this, Raven, is that, you know, they've just lost 2 rounds on the laundry, which means they can go back to the bomb site they've won. So right now we're seeing Auglis defend the bomb site they've already won. They're probably going to win that. Like, looking at the pattern, that's probably going to happen. Yep. So what they actually need to be talking about in this tactical timeout is how they're going to go back downstairs and win laundry.
Absolutely, and I think the other thing that's really important is just to reinvigorate the mental game. They had such an advantage, and it's whittling away, and that can really take a toll on how you think about the match going forward. And I think that's a really critical thing for Silex to do with his team here, is just get them refocused, reiterate that they've played really well so far. They've had some really good reads. That first defense was strong. They can do it, so they just need to refocus and just stop the Xavier train going forward. Producer Beam again with the Blitz, so it's going to be an issue they have to deal with. It is the top floor, which isn't as necessarily favorable for the Blitz. And look, we do see Producer Beam 6 picking off to the Blackbeard. Not necessarily much better to deal with, but still going to be a bit of a pain for Auglis.
It's very different. It's a very different way to approach that.
Absolutely.
If you're on the defensive side, how do you deal with that? And I think that it's very smart from Xavier. Just tell Auglis, oh, by the way, we're going to be doing this same thing. Think of us as a one-trick pony. That's what we want you to do, because we're going to bring you something different. You won't expect it.
I like the Legion pick out of Ethan as well. That was potentially for the Blitz. It's good anyway. Legion is always a good pick. But if there's anything that's going to slow down a Blitz, it's going to be that Legion. Unfortunately, Xavier don't have the Blitz this time, but it's still going to be really good for them. Also, pretty intel-based. They've got the Evil Eyes with the Maestro and also Valcans from Diesel. Be interesting to see whether we see the same Evil Eye positions out of Derpe. That one in Attic was so good last time, and we didn't get to see it used because of the way Xavier attacks, but I really liked it.
Yeah, and I mean, talking about that information game, a huge thing for me in this game, this entire map, is how much of an impact that Valkyrie has had. Xavier were using it to a really strong effect, even on that downstairs defense. And now we see Orgulus doing the same up top. And we've also seen, even when IQ is picked, not actually clearing out all those Valkyrie cameras. So, you know, Producer Boom's, you know, foregoing the IQ, going on to the Blackbeard, doesn't have that utility to counter that. I think that that Valkyrie information is just going to be present in every single defensive round.
Yeah, and we see somebody playing the top of the tower there. They're going to try and prevent that control on the tower kid's bedroom side. I believe it is Derpe with the Maestro, so he does have an ACOG. Xavier very aware and trying to push it straight away. Redstone has been taken away. Oh, and Hajame's head is taken off by Derpe. He is traded straight back by Producer Boom. That's the Blackbeard helping out with that engagement, and it's a 4v4, but Redstone's very low.
I would still take that any day of the week for Xavier. You've just destroyed the Maestro and all of his capabilities, as well as that ACOG, and you have taken ground for it. The thing that is a question for me is why wasn't Producer Boom the first one to peek? Because he's just a Blackbeard. He can take that, you know, a couple of shots into that shield.
That's true. Diesel here in a strong position in dining. I think he's potentially worried that they're going to push the dining door just to try and get control of the kids, but it looks like they're actually just surrounding the master bedroom. That's where the execute's going to come out. Like Hollis is in the hallway with the diffuser. They might be going for that doorway plant. And in fact, we might be seeing an execute here. The Capitao with one smoke and the fire, potentially trying to bait some utility out of August as they did on the laundry attack. They're aware of a position on white, and they're also aware that somebody's playing kids. So I'd say Xavier's in a pretty strong position here to get this execute down. It's just a matter whether August can find the denial.
And really, where is the information as well? As Producer Boom, not on the bomb site, but he does some good work. He does, in fact, lose his Blackbeard shield, but the plant is not going down. It's a good frag, but there's a lot of utility expended by Xavier in order to get it, and there's only a little bit of map control that was really taken. Healthcare! Oh, how does he run past that and not get taken down by Emo? Producer Boom now as well. So many players from Xavier now safely snug inside of kids, but the information is there for the defense, but they can't deny the plant. No way! How does that happen? 3 versus 3 now on the retake, and we know, Raven, how difficult it is to retake onto kids' dorms.
Especially with the Blackbeard looking at the white stairs, which is a really common position to push up. They do have the Evil Eye for the intel, but Xavier, such strong positions here. There's not too much ways to get up back into bomb site. The Blackbeard just holding it down. The other two staying passive in bomb site. Producer Boom's just going to have to stay careful. Ethan does get the frag onto Healthcare, so now it's a 3v2 in favor of August. More than half the defuse time down, though. The Valkyrie is pushing the hallway. White stairs pushed up. That is Emorin taken out. Producer Boom with the 3K. Wow, Xavier, that is a strong attack again, and here we are on a 5-5, Dev.
Yeah, evened it up. It's taken a long while, but it looks like this game is, in fact, similar to the 0RGL Ageless one that we saw earlier today. That was, what, a 4K for Producer Boom on the Blackbeard?
Yep.
You know what, I mean, I've talked so much about the Xavier playstyle, and I feel like maybe I don't need to keep ragging on about it, but I love players who think, look, I actually think that this piece of utility or this operator is going to be more suited to what I could do, or I could use this way, and it'll perfectly counter, and that's exactly what we've seen.
Yep.
I mean, the Blackbeard would have died to the smoke jumping out that window if he wasn't a Blackbeard, because his shield was completely destroyed by that shotgun.
Absolutely, and we see Xavier, they're bringing the blitz this time. I think they're predicting that August might go back to Laundry, which I believe is now available again for August, but they're sticking with the upstairs, so this is a bit of a psychological play here from both teams, I'd say. August look like they've got the same operator lineup, though, for the top stairs at the end of the day. And again, the blitz is still going to help. The blitz can push those white stairs, for example.
Xavier will have to think of a new way to use it, though. They won't be able to use it the same way they used that Blackbeard. The thing for me, though, is that round we just saw was an incredibly important round. You know, now that we have the 6 sides, 6 rounds a side rule, it can be difficult sometimes for a lot of viewers to think, okay, who is actually in the lead right now? And so we came off the first half, and it looked like August was doing really well, 4-2. But in fact, this is shaping up to be an attacker-sided game. But the one round that was then finally broken through, it was Xavier taking this top floor, which, you know, that was unexpected. We haven't seen August lose a defense onto this top floor yet, and Xavier managed to make it happen. Can they repeat the feat?
That's so true, and we're going to see August opening up a bit more of sites, a little more insecure for the plant to go down.
Yeah, that'll help.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to play a bit more free as well with the roam. Emorin and Ethan both downstairs with a bit of wire, so it's going to make it a bit harder for Xavier take that. Derpe is in tower again. Not up the top, though. He's playing more the lower stairs. Hajime just on that side, aware that there's a player around. He's probably been droned out, but we see him rotating. Ethan does get an early frag on a redstone, and that is a key pick because that Capitao utility was really important for Xavier to actually take the bomb site control last time. They're going to miss that.
I think that August has identified two things that they need for a success in this round. It's one, that early aggression just to find some kind of early advantage, which they've now done, taking down Red Sun. As you mentioned, a lot of utility off the board. But the second thing that we really need to see from August is the ability to deny plant, even if they're not on the bomb site. They tried. Last time we saw 2 players were below, but they didn't have enough information or utility to deny that plant. Now they've opened up holes in the floor. They should have much more freedom if they're down in the kitchen to deny that plant in Kid's bedroom.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see the Blitz now engaging with this Valkyrie in the showers.
It's a bait.
It is an excellent bait because Ethan has a nice crossfire in dining.
Oh, no way. 3 players.
Oh, wow. That's a beautiful play from Xavier. He is taken down, though, and the defender is just going to piece out. He's aware of the pressure. That Blitz can be saved, and Derpe gets a frag of his own, so it's a 3v2. Technically, 3v1 if Producer Boom doesn't get revived. Hajime is pulling out a Goom Mine, so he's going to have to play it easy. And again, another bait. Emo Rin finishes off Producer Boom, and it's fallen apart for Xavier now on this attack.
And that really comes down to that single engagement with that. It was just Blitz saw a person. Blitz wants to go and kill that person. But August prepared. They set up a crossfire. Xavier tries to counter that crossfire with a smoke grenade. So August prepare for that as well with another one. It was excellent play from both teams. But this is really looking to be an August round. Hajime doesn't know where to play. And in fact, this could be a run out. That's what it will be. Imorin secures that one. Perfect information game from August.
Yeah, really, really well played by August. They read into that engagement with the Blitz really well. They had beautiful crossfires. It was really great teamwork. And instead of it being the classic, here comes the Blitz train kind of play that makes the change in the round, August just shut them down. They managed to just completely equalize it, and that was really it. Xavier just couldn't bounce back from that.
The real worry here is that, statistically, we're heading to overtime because this is match point here for August. This is August's last chance on a downstairs defense. We've seen incredibly comfortable takes, especially on the back of this Blitz. But we've also seen August deal with the Blitz in positive ways, as I highlighted with that crossfire and the counters. So what will make the difference? Is this Ethan deciding that mute will be a counter to Blitz? Because you can do that.
Yeah, that's very true. You can put the mute jammers down and just prevent the actual flash from coming out.
I don't think that'll make enough of a difference.
Potentially not, and foregoing the Jaeger as well, missing on those ADSs, it's going to make it a bit easier for Xavier if they want to pull out an execute on the laundry stairs, because sometimes those ADSs can be a pain. They're not bringing the Thatcher, for example, so if there were ADSs, then they'd actually have to shoot them.
Or use, there's a fear utility, there's some, they can identify where the ADSs are with the IQ.
Yeah.
They have a decent amount of utility to, get rid of it. But yeah, I mean, it's not relevant because the ADS is not there. But yeah, they will have a lot more freedom now with those projectiles, as you said. Yeah.
The mute is a good pick too from Ethan because just muting the hatch, for example, and the laundry stairs, which we did see him put a mute jammer up on that shelf under the stairs. That's really strong because you deny the intel from Xavier early, and they're going to have to think about how to counter that.
That's true, but again, what Xavier have, other than Thatcher, they have one of the best operators to counter that, and that's the Blitz.
Or Emo, is he going to get caught out? He's very lucky. That's a very common
pre-fire.
Yeah, pre-fire, and first thing to do is often to take down that double door to just cut that rotate straight away, so almost getting caught out.
Yeah. Still anyone's game at the moment, even though August are on match point, and I think they are poised to take this map. We could be heading to map number 3, which will be Villa, if we get to it. Xavier had such a good map number 172, and they couldn't repeat the feat here, but they may well manage to, well, they've done so much damage already, and August, I think, they're looking very good, but it's still a question mark on this downstairs bomb site.
Yeah, and Xavier already looking nice early here on this attack. Redson is still in spawn. He's been droning for the other attackers, but they have taken already most map control now. Producer Boom did push up into the kitchen, so they're aware that they have that side of the map. There is quite a heavy roam there. Diesel playing the big tower and 2 playing in the meeting, so it's going to be critical for Xavier to try and push those players out like they did last time. They around the minute-and-a-half mark, they had walls open in the rear tower, and they were able to flush those defenders back onto site, which favoured the Blitz play. So it's really interesting how they're going to take this again this time. The Blitz looks like he's actually by himself.
It's a dangerous position for a Blitz, of course, especially if there are crossfires, as we've said. Oh, that's the last ex-Kairos spell. If that's denied, and in fact, they're playing aggressively. This is dangerous, not using the Blitz, and that's really an oversight. The Blitz could have 100% stilted that out, but just on the back of a bad read from Xavier, August are poised to take the map.
Yeah, looking very grim here for Xavier. August up with a 5-2 advantage, and still a long time to go, so Xavier can try and muster something together, but it's going to be really difficult at this stage. The diffuser is down there on the laundry stairs. August are aware that it's there. Hajime is going to try to push down and recover the diffuser. Is he going to try and get a pick all by himself? They're not going to utilize the blitz at this stage. Here we go. Producer Boom is on the stairs. They're going to have to just try and make something work here. Hajime using his utility, but the smoke will slow them down. Producer counter-smoking, but they're going to have to just rush, it looks like. I don't know whether Hajime is actually going to try and plant. Producer Boom just goes for it. He gets one, but Ethan takes him out. It's a 4v1. Hajime pushes site, but it's a trade, and that's GG to August.
A fantastic game from the Australians. That's map number 2 ranked up. We're heading to map number 3, which will be Villa. It was on the back of some incredibly strong plays from August, racking up those wins on the attacking half. And in that final round, it came down to Xavier. A very, very poor read. August were happy to take advantage of that.
Nicely done, of course, by August, but can I just point out, you guys had absolutely zero faith, and that was August winning into map number 2, so I don't know, what's going on there, boys?
It's going really backwards. Yeah, it's going really backwards. We thought August were going to have Bank in the bag, but they didn't, and we thought Xavier would have had Oregon, and they didn't.
Look, I just want to say that I did point out that August may well have expected to go to Oregon and built up their strat book for it. So that's what happened.
Well,
so
to be
I was
fair,
partly right.
To be fair, Dev, you are literally the king of hedging bets, and so there you go. You've managed to pull another one out of the bag. But look, okay, that puts us in a really interesting position now, of course. We didn't think that we would get here this way, but I think it was fair to say that we expected this to go to map 3.
Yeah, we always knew it was going to be close, and as we did say at the start, that potentially this could be one of the finalist teams. They're both very strong teams that people have high expectations of. So yeah, I guess in a way, not too surprising we're going to map 3, and it's going to be an interesting map 3 at that.
Yeah, I mean, talking about Villa for a moment, we've got both of these teams have had it banned by them and against them a lot, about evenly, and they've also both had wins on that. So it really is anyone's game.
Do you guys really think for like both of these teams that going into the semi-finals is basically the bare minimum, right? Getting knocked out here in the quarterfinals would actually be a massive disappointment for both Xavier and for August.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think both teams are trying to really make their stamp on the scene and show that they deserve to not just be at the APAC land, but really pushing for that Milan spot. I think especially August, they've made a few lands recently now, and they just want to keep their winning form.
I think that's the thing about every time you have a competition, right? You have these teams which would like to be on the rise, and they want to do better every single time. Now, August, for them, better is making semifinals. For Xavier, you know, better is making semifinals, and even making Milan, I think, is really on sights for August in particular, because of course they are August. They want to get some org representation. They want that international exposure, and Milan